Hello, everyone. A very happy morning to all of you. I welcome you all to the Indian Express daily discussion. And in this discussion, we will consider a very important topic related to India and China relations. We all know that, or you might have heard that, the India China relations seminar had been organized, and in that opening ceremony, the China's ambassador had described some of the points. Regarding our international relations, these points are of very much importance. You can use this in any of the relations, but now we are going to discuss these in the context of India and China. So let's begin. First of all, we will see that why India and China to each other are very important, or why their relations are very much of importance. First of all, we'll see the bilateral perspective. We all know that India shares a huge border with China, and they are neighboring countries too. Since they are most populous and the largest developing countries, they also have a very bilateral relation among them. Along with this, the historical glory of friendly interactions are very well known to everyone. There are many issues regarding the boundaries which are still pending. These are also need to be covered. Then the relations between India and China are multifaceted, and though they are complicated, they can be called for a special care and attentions, and if such happens, then these bilateral relations will prove to be a very fruitful for both of the countries. We'll move towards the next perspective of domestic development. Domestically, developmental issues are very concerned for China as well as India. The critical stage of economic development is also deepening the reforms, and also the advancement in the modernization will prove a way for the domestic development among both the nations. If they share the synergic and the developmental strategies to enhance their developmental issues, sorry, to enhance their developmental infrastructural projects, then they can lead to a glorious world. Likewise, if they agree to share the governance and its experience, what they evolved, how they got the feedback, and how the policy implications will help them, then this perspective can also prove to be an vital aspect for the India China relations. Then the global perspective. We all know that India and China are the developing countries and they are emerging as the economically growth countries. What has happening that their emergence has led to a formation of a group which will contribute to the rising of the East. And against the backdrop of the anti-global and rising protectionism, India-China relations are major emerging, which could be stood in the sectors of economy as well as in the diplomatic relations. And being the neighbors since historic times, both stood at the coordinating positions if they would agree to explore their ways with each other. If seen by these three perspectives, India and China relations stood a very strategic importance for the world as well as for both the countries. And all in all, this can also stood to resolve the boundary disputes and also the Pakistan issue. We will see what are the fields of the priority. They have led 5 C's, that is communication, cooperation, contacts, coordination, and control. We will see this one by one. First, let's move to the strategic communication. Actually, strategic communication seems to have the conversations, the correspondence, and the daily regular meetings. We know that India has become the full member of SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. India and China are both the members of BRICS. India and China are both the members of G20. Therefore, if they regularly coordinate and converse with each other, then a strategic communication can also be established. Further, if they strengthen their exchanges between senior officials of the government, the military officials, and the legislative reforms, then something communicable, strategically important issues can be resolved and a firm relation could be established. Being neighbors and friendly relations since history, though there are some disputes, If they resolve this by signing a treaty, then this can also be a hopeful pathway. Then comes the economic cooperation. We know that India has a huge soft power in context of services, that is software issue, and China has a huge contribution towards the hardware. If both this get coupled, then a huge mass of technological interventions could be established. Likewise, China says that China is India's largest trading partner, creating over 1 lakh job opportunities in India. So, if to improve the trade imbalance, China will try to maintain some balance issues, or they will buy some products or something else they will be do, they have negotiated in this seminarial meeting. Then the negotiations of bilateral free trade agreement, if would be done, then India can expand its relations, especially trade relations with China, and the economic cooperation on major projects. Then we can take the development of high-speed railways or new industrial parks can also lead for boosting the economic cooperation between the two. We'll see the connectivity cooperation. We know that India has a project of connecting Bangladesh, China, India, and Myanmar countries through multilateral ways. If this could be happened, then a connective cooperation can also be established. Along with this, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank could be stood as a major key role factor. Practical cooperation, especially in sharing the experiences regarding the trade related activities and the reformal changes would took place, then this can also be established as a field priority to enhance the relations between both the countries. We'll move towards the third one, that is people to people contacts. China has said that they have also offered a MA degree for especially yoga. They are saying that this has they done especially in regard to enhance the knowledge of their people in the field of yoga. They also said that, like this, if the domestic level has the people to people contact and are showing greater results, then the high level people to people contacts and cultural exchanges mechanism can also play a very vital role. It can be also suggested that to have the exchanges in the fields of movie, sports, tourism, museum, and youth can also show emphasizing results. Especially the religious exchanges and the pilgrimage route, if open for Indians without any barriers, could also lead for the people to people contact establishments and ultimately the enhancements of the relations between India and China. Then the fourth C is coordination. Especially coordination on international and regional issues could stood a priority for them also. We all know that India has a policy of neighborhood first, and we also have the policy of world as one, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. If these two policies are led further and would be emphasized on major enhancements, then this can be seen that the cooperation in SCO, BRICS, and G20, along with the global economic integration, free trade, and multilateralism, could lead the best coordination among both the countries. If the cooperation held between India and China would lead to the specificization of special fields, then India China plus cooperation would lead to some better results. The fifth C, that is control, especially control and management of differences. We know that India and China have major differences at the cross borders or at the neighboring issues. Also, the CPEC is also evolving some of the issues right now. The boundary question between two countries should be answered by a mutual acceptable solution through special representative meetings. If this could happen, then this could build a confidence, and this can also be used to maintain peace and tranquility along the border. See, we have discussed this all aspects regarding India and China relations. But remember, these core points can be utilized to to quote the points between any two countries, between India and USA also, between India and Russia also. So remember these core points and utilize them as per the question's demand.